we're going to be going over the top 10 myths or the common biggest misconceptions that Etsy sellers have. And we're going to finish this video off with number 10 being the biggest misconception, or at least in my opinion, the biggest misconception. Let's get into this video. One of the biggest misconceptions is that you can only be on the platform if you're selling handmade goods, but that is not technically the case. So they classify anything as handmade as physically making the product yourself, the finished product, or making it with a production partner. They say all handmade items are made or designed by you. If you work with a production partner, you must disclose that production partner in your relevant listings. You accurately describe every person involved in the making of the item in your shop in your About section. You're using your own photographs or video content, not stock photos, artistic renderings, or photos used by other sellers or sites. What does a production partner actually mean? Well, it means that if you are the sole designer and you are working with a manufacturer, maybe your manufacturer is not where you live, which is what a lot of people on Amazon do. It's called private label, but really all people are doing is going to a manufacturer that's already producing that good and then supplying their custom designs, colors, sizes, textures, whatever, everything with that manufacturer, and then that manufacturer is actually producing the product for them. And so this is how you get away with not completely being handmade, but it is allowed on the platform. The kicker here is that it has to be your designs. You can't just be going to a manufacturer and then pick something from their catalog. Then you're just technically reselling. It has to be your custom mock-ups or your custom design. Say you wanted to sell puzzles. So I actually have a friend that sells puzzles. You can easily go on Alibaba right now and find a manufacturer that has puzzles and just resell puzzles from China. But my friend in particular actually custom makes, like custom designs the puzzle and what the puzzle is actually supposed to look like. And then they send those designs to the manufacturer, and then the manufacturer makes their custom designs. The next type of business that's allowed to sell is vintage. So vintage is categorized as any good that is over 20 years old. Finally, you also qualify if you're selling craft supplies, and they're saying that craft supplies are tools, ingredients, or materials whose primary purpose is for use in the creation of an item or special occasion. Craft supplies may be handmade, commercial, or vintage. So you see this a lot with stores that just sell beads, or maybe they sell parts of the ingredients that make up a dangled earring or something like that. The next common false belief is that Etsy is super saturated and it's too late to get into the game. I have a fundamental belief that there are still hundreds of thousands of ideas and trends and products that have not been capitalized yet on the internet. If a brick and mortar shopping has been around basically forever, shopping online, e-commerce, the time span of which that's existed is a fraction of that. I really have a fundamental belief that we are still very much in the entryway of e-commerce in general. I think that as long as you follow the rules and you are maintaining, again, a level of creativity, but doing that on a scalable level, you can be competitive and enter the space today or in 2024. The third really big false belief is that lower prices equates to more sales, which that is just not the case. There are niches that are price competitive and your price is weighed more heavily than other niches. But again, there's other niches where actually if you have the cheapest price, like in jewelry, usually the perception of your goods is that lower price equals lower quality. The marketing speaks volumes for the perceived value of that good. So if you have more competitive photography and marketing and cohesive branding and beautiful pieces, you could technically be priced 5 times more than another guy that's pretty much selling a very similar good. But just because the perceived value of your marketing and your packaging is high, people are automatically going to associate that with better quality. Number 4 is that Etsy takes a large portion of your sales. And honestly, this one's just not true. The people that normally complain about Etsy fees have never sold on any platform before. Anyone that's upset about Etsy seller fees, I really implore you to look beyond Etsy and really consider what your other options are. It's cheaper than Amazon, FBA, FBM, eBay, fair. Like if you looked at how much fair takes of your sale, it's actually crazy when you're already selling at a wholesale price. The fees are one thing at a 6.5%, but the cost per acquisition is really the bigger expense here. That is what I've seen historically cheaper than any platform. When I run ads for my Shopify store on Google and TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, my cost to acquire a customer in those media buying outlets is usually double, if not triple. And that's with pretty optimized media buying. Not to mention that when you start media buying elsewhere, aside from Google shopping campaigns, the strategy is usually content based. If I really wanted to, I could spend all day making content just for my products with the hopes that one of them has viral potential or is going to take off in a campaign. The effort is like this compared to Etsy PPC or Etsy like this, but the return doesn't mean that it's actually greater. Now it can be, don't get me wrong, especially if you are a natural content creator and you make viral videos about your products. But if you're not that person, your CPA or your cost per acquisition or there is a very strong chance that it's probably going to be cheaper on Etsy. And that's why people pay to sell on Etsy. And that's why you don't have to pay a transaction fee when you pay it on Shopify. A lot of times the people that are complaining about it they don't know that they've never looked at other options. There's that. And also I'll just throw in there another comment about Etsy Offsite Ads, which is Etsy basically saying that I'm gonna push your ads to Google or their partners. Google is probably the biggest one. They do Facebook and Instagram as well. And basically if you get a sale with them doing the marketing on your behalf, so the media buying that you otherwise would have had to do for yourself and manage yourself through Shopify, they're making it a flat rate of 15% if you make a sale. So that means they're going to take 15% flat of the sale price if they make a sale for you via Offsite Ads. And people are pissed. They're like, oh my God, 15%. And I'm like, well, if you try to do it yourself, it would probably be like 40%. So I don't really know what you're complaining about. With that being said, having a 15% or anything really less than 20% as a marketing cost percentage is very cheap in the e-commerce world. Number 5 is that Etsy is for only small businesses. And hopefully by now that this is really getting debunked. Actually, moving forward, I have a strong belief that more sharks are going to continue entering the space. You're going to have a lot more people moving into 2024 that are actually wanting to grow scalable, later 6-figure, 7-figure businesses. So if you're someone watching this and this was kind of like a side gig for you or just like a hobby, right? I really think that people that have that mindset are going to get washed out moving into the next era of Etsy. And honestly, guys, I'm curious to hear what your opinion is on that. What do you personally think the future of Etsy holds? And I'm interested to hear that in the comment section. So make sure that you're commenting down below. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. On my last video that I posted, I had 40% of viewers not subscribed. So please subscribe if you do think that this is valuable and you want to get notified for more trainings, free trainings. That really helps support me and my channel and the channel grow and motivates me to keep doing more. Number 6 is social media doesn't matter at all for Etsy shops. Now, while unlike if you own a Shopify store where social media in most cases is the bulk of your traffic, it is true that the bulk of your traffic is not coming from Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, where if it was coming from those places, I would highly recommend you not drive that traffic to an Etsy store where then you're paying Etsy fees. I would suggest you drive that traffic to a Shopify store or somewhere where you actually own your database. If that is not the case, it's not that you shouldn't have social media. And there's actually a lot of really valuable tactics that I personally use, that I take my Etsy traffic and drive them to my Instagram on purpose. So then I'm in their feed and I'm a constant reminder that I exist for them, you know, one day maybe if they wanted to buy again. I would say when it comes to social media, it's, especially in the beginning, it's not something that you need to put bunch of money or time into, but I would have that engine going to at least show that you exist. And when you do start getting a lot of sales, there's a lot of ways, again, that we can drive that traffic to your social media. I have other trainings on my follow-up process that I can link in this video, so you can make sure you can cue those videos next to get those strategies. Number 7 is copying other shops is guaranteeing your success. This is not true, because even though on the surface level you might think that you're copying them from an operational standpoint or a monetary standpoint, what works for another shop might actually not work for you. Not only that, if you're betting that all of the success that you have is going to come solely based off of ripping other people's listings and designs, that's just a very short-sighted business that's probably not going to get you very far. I would really implore you, especially if you're coming into the space and you don't feel that you are super creative, right? Really make that a goal to acquire that skill, to better that, creative design work. And I'm a very good case study of that. When I first started my store, I didn't know photography, I didn't know how to do logo design, I didn't know how to put fonts and color schemes and build a brand. I did it all on a whim. I did it all on Canva, honestly. And back then, Canva was not what it was today. And if you look at my first rendition of photos and designs and logos to what it is now, it has completely changed. Now, I'm still not the best, but I can get by and build a brand that looks cohesive and nice together. And so that's just one of those things that it takes time to acquire those skills, and give yourself a break and just take it one day at a time, and know that every single day it's the least worse version than yesterday. That's kind of a joke that we say. Every new day is the least. Okay, I'm done. Number 8 is that discounts always boost sales. So just because you're always showing that you're running a sale, it doesn't technically equate to actually making more sales. And sometimes it can actually hurt you, because the perceived value of the good is, well, why is it on sale? Again, that's if you're in a pretty perceptual-based niche. I will say that I ran a test for a few months where I was starting and ending a sale the same day to get that urgency badge, which is something that I've talked about before. And it definitely worked for a few months, but I think Etsy kind of caught on, and now it's not boosting it as much as it was back then, because everyone started doing it, just being honest. Another thing that I'm curious about, if you want to comment your sales strategy down below, let us know what personally has worked or what hasn't worked for you. And again, I know that all niches are very different. There's a lot of variables that play into what works and what doesn't work on a per niche basis. The moral of the story here is, just because you put a sale price and then heavily discount it like 80%, that doesn't mean that you're actually still beating your competitor. I would really focus on putting value and adding value into that listing and building competitive products in comparison to your competition, if anything. Number 9 is that you must offer free shipping. Now, Etsy has a thing in here that basically says that if you offer free shipping, you are at an advantage, and that they will start prioritizing listings that offer free shipping. But honestly, Etsy's been saying that forever, that they will start factoring this into prioritizing, your listing over somebody else, probably because they think that they need to compete with Amazon, which personally, I don't think they need to compete with Amazon, because it's 2 completely different customer avatars. But in any case, in some instances, when you're in a price competitive niche and you offer free shipping, that means that you have to make up for that free shipping in your sale price. It's more beneficial for you in that price competitive niche to actually show a cheaper price on the front end. Then you may want to consider actually not offering free shipping. And we can see a lot of top shops, especially in the print on demand space, that are not offering free shipping, and they're top shops on the platform. So we know that this is actually not true. All right, guys, and number 10, which is the most important, which is dun dun dun. Etsy is set and forget. Okay, what does that mean? It means that you get your business to a certain point where you're making good money, and then you forget. Not really forget, but you just stop. Owning an Etsy shop requires ongoing attention. Think of your business as an engine wheel, and you're constantly working on that engine wheel to make sure that it's turning at all times. So what does that mean? That means that just working the business and fulfilling orders and doing customer service is definitely one part of that engine, but not continuing to actively try to grow the business. It's honestly probably one of the fastest ways to kill an Etsy business. Your Etsy engine is an organism that the goal for you is to completely keep feeding the organism so it's growing. And a couple ways to do this, obviously turning up your ad budget is one huge way that I talk about all the time, but unfortunately, because we are limited to only $1,000 a day spending, the only other way that we can grow the organism is by launching more things. So testing out more listings, split testing, bundles, launching new collections, finding more things to sell. So that is why the research and development part of your business engine is super important. There should be a consistent inflow of new product development happening or new listings happening. Guys, I hope you got some serious value out of this video. Make sure you check out more full trainings in my channel. I have so many trainings in here that go really, really in depth on all of the major topics from Etsy, PPC, to setting up shop, to shipping, to follow-up. Basically every part of an Etsy engine. There are free trainings in my channel to check out. So again, I hope to see you guys in some other videos. And until next time, make sure you're commenting down below what questions you do have so I can make more videos about it. All right, bye guys.